I'm gonna try this one more time. None of the videos are going up to YouTube for some. They're not even going on the. They're not even filming, so I don't know if this will or not. I, all I'm gonna say on this one is I've put this on former videos and YouTube and all that. I wrote a book in about mind control, 79, 78, 77. Programming, and it's become widespread, and people seem to ignore it, even though there's plenty of information out there on YouTube. And just go to YouTube and put in mind control, and you'll get a lot of information. There wasn't this information when I did a book. I was living in Marietta, and Larry Flint was shot March the 6th of 78 in Lawrenceville, Georgia, which was a few miles away. And I was flown up there during a political campaign to replace one of the doctors I'd written about in the book, Medical Malpractice book. He was Larry McDonald, and he was on the JAL Korean jetliner when it was shot down. It veered off course, was shot down on August the 31st of 83, and I was flown up to Flint's for political support. Now, I'm leaving out all the other. I was kidnapped, and it wasn't just the book that I did the book. It was more about I was kidnapped and brought over here in 41, and my uncle, George the Sixth, the illegal George the Sixth, this is 39 when I was born, with Roosevelt, and I think that was the only time that he ever visited America. So he and Elizabeth are illegal, and she's using my money living in my home, and they're traitors. My father did not marry this woman. He's an imposter. This is my father, who is legally wed to, well, I had it here. I've got I didn't think it was going up. My father was married to my mom, Georgia O'Keefe. Georgia O'Keefe, excuse me. I don't know if I can redo this. I've got such a mess here, and I thought I had all this up. Now none of them went. This is my father, King Edward VIII. Was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, sister to Georgia O'Keefe. She was a commoner, Irish-American, and Catholic, and it wasn't just this. This whole thing has been planned a long time. It wasn't the British people that didn't care for it. They're the reason I'm alive, all right, them and the Germans and some Americans. But history has recorded this as my father. I mean, they've told total lies. This isn't even him. By the way, a friend of mine, I hope he's a friend of mine, called me not too long ago and said, well, did you know that Wallace Simpson was one of the first women and almost the only one that was featured on, it's either Look or Life. I looked it up back then, and she was on the cover. Now, they've made this spy who married, and they've even made a movie, Madonna did, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. I mean, it was the biggest lies. They kidnapped me, the real monarch. They took down my father. His own brother helped with the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, New World Order. Why do you think they had to take him down? Because he's a good, decent man. They kidnapped me, his daughter, and man, they closed the deal on that, didn't they? Oh, they made it stick with a 99-year seal, and I'm 75 years old. History hasn't been very kind. It hasn't told an ounce of the truth. So what I wanted to get to was what the reason this went on, and me writing about mind control and all that, and I've continued to tell about it. The book didn't get published because I had a letter from the U.S. Attorney in June the 23rd of 79 about an ongoing investigation, national security involved. So this man, Edward Snowden, only touched the iceberg of it because they're involved in mind control and all that. I don't know if that shows or not. I don't know if I can get this up. I want to go into, and I'm just going to use the one letter. I had all this, and I put it on before also. But tonight I made several tapes, and none of them went up. I don't know why they didn't even take. But when I came here October the 20th of 86, I couldn't get jobs anymore, and I'd had antifreeze put in me. That's the reason the book didn't get published or anything. A letter from the FBI, and then April Fool's Day of 80, I had antifreeze put in me and should have died. Donna Coleman died. So it left brain damage, and it was a fiasco of what they did to me. There were like 1, 2, 3 so-called hospitals involved where I went for a tox screen to see what they had been put in me as to try to neutralize it or help stop it. And none was done. I was switched from one place to the other. None of the reports, lab work or anything. In fact, I was illegally locked up, and just from one to the other, and then across the state line to Huntsville, Alabama, where in the condition I was in, I passed a background check by Sheriff Patterson's office, Madison County, Huntsville, Alabama. I went to work for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, in 80. So I can't get into all of it. I was kidnapped. I was brought over here and given another name, the name of a twin, Peggy Dempsey Childers, and both twins were dead, brought to Moulton, Alabama. Now, what they've done to me since I came here, I couldn't get jobs anymore. In 86, you have to have money. I could get no money. I could get no funds. I could get no place. They shut me down with agencies and everything. I ended up living on the Appalachian Trail and freezing, starving, just to have a place to be without being on the side of the highway going from one place to the other. They isolated me with the help of all the law enforcement, but the agencies and the people, most of them, you'd have to have been able to film it. They found it a joke that the Americans could kidnap the real monarch, and yet when they brought Elizabeth here and paid her, the state of Virginia, back when the Virginia Tech shootings happened in April of '07, she went right through here. They paid her to come. This is the woman who's illegal, who's spending my money, has sold out the British. That in itself tells you, if anybody cared to listen. But anyway, I'm allergic to chemicals. I have an immune disorder. I get around certain industrial or heavy chemicals, and it's like a bee or a peanut butter to some people. I shouldn't have to explain that to anybody. They know. What's happened is law enforcement has gone in. They've got stuff on certain people. Or on their kids, and quite frankly, they've got people to participate in it, and most people will gladly participate. They thought it was a joke to do it to me. But I'm going to use just the one here. I read that, I think, didn't I? At his best, man is the noblest of all animals, separated from law and justice. He's the worst, by Aristotle. So this that I'm going to try to get briefly before this goes off. When I did get a little bit of money and was able to get a place to live. And by the way, law enforcement took me there. Was Richfield. First one was Edinburgh. Next one was Richfield, and then Joseph's Way. And they've all done this. Where I got in the next day or 2 months later, now then, I had to leave and break a lease when they were breaking the law against me with chemicals, assaulting me. The cops went in there, and it was all pre-planned before I got a place to stay. And Richfield is really a nice place. I've always said that. Except they weren't nice to me. That's not the relationship I had with them. I went there in '08, and this woman was the manager then. It's the Section 8 part of it. It has a lot of other more expensive apartments and everything. I went there, and this